Dashboard. Mic. Hello. Hi. Sorry. I never figured out the opening. It is Saturday morning. It is 11:22 a.m. Saturday, February 16th, and I am still making indie games. This week flew. It's actually been, I think, 8 days since I streamed. I was kind of surprised, and I had to think through what happened because it's been kind of a blur. And I think I've mentally caught up. So on Saturday, I went to a conference here in Boston, and I had somebody playtest the game. And there was a handful of notes out of that I tackled. Other than that, it's just been meetings all week and getting an art. Every day I get new art from I've got a team of like 4 artists kind of ish right now out in the UK that are working on different things. And every day I get a drop of art from them. I put it in the game. I give them feedback. I kick out a build. They play their stuff and they kind of review my feedback and they go the next day, and we were just cranking. It's basically what it comes down to. And with that, there's a lot of other things that are going into that as well. Like, so they're slowly arting up the world. We're getting a little bit further. There's times when I have to chunk things up differently because of, how do I put it? So I'll show you several things that have changed. Right. So the thing I'm talking about right now, which is something we're going to tackle today, is see how I have like this thing here? I needed some kind of blocker so when the other levels go away, you can see that there's a blocker here when you hit it. Otherwise, it looks like you should be able to fall off the world. What this is was something that we've been going back and forth on. Is it a card that's like transparent? They had this idea, which is they'll model something, and obviously this isn't working out really well. You can see if you go behind what they're thinking here is like there'll be these books, and they kind of take up that space, and they'll somehow find a way to make the books work around this. And I think that kind of works for this level, but I just don't like it as a solid solution everywhere. And in fact, the solution I came up with is a lot harder, which is simply I have to cut up the world a lot more finely and very carefully, so that, like, for instance, in this level, before when you went over, there was nothing, but now this level's been cut up into 3 pieces and will soon be cut up into even more pieces, so that a part of it remains when you turn to this angle. And I'm cutting up the levels a lot, basically, to get that kind of effect, which means I have to go back in, rework the level somewhat in a lot of ways, which is just like it's hard to explain, but it's just been like a constant grind of a process, getting things like this to look good and to work. Because like this here that's bright is a part of this other level, right? So that was one of the things that went in. That's one of the things I'm working on. Obviously, there's a lot of art feedback right now. They've been kind of sprinting forward. The team out in the UK, they're doing several things. This area that you'll see is kind of new and rough. How do I put it? I'm not super jazzed about the painting area. I gave them a lot of notes about this. This level's not so bad, but like, they've got some new people working on this area. I think we just completely missed here. Like, I don't read these buckets as something I'm supposed to be able to roll onto. I feel like we need to go back towards things being grid-based. They straight up, like, this is a new person that's working on this area, but like, that's not gonna fly. That anytime I give them a footprint, I need them to take up exactly that footprint. So there's a lot of notes like that to go back that are just technical, and then there's artistic notes of like, the world's starting to look way too cluttered. Before we kind of had a thing where these were bigger, blockier shapes initially, but then we got into like smaller and smaller shapes again. We're pushing back towards like having an asset for every single grid tile, which doesn't look good in my opinion, especially when you have a lot of that. It looks very cluttered. So we're pushing away from that. We're pushing, that area is going to get redone. Well, I'm sorry, reworked a bit. The themes over here are going to get reworked quite a bit. We have colors missing. We've got things like Andy, the one artist that's like clicking really well and doing it. I wanted to have him start experimenting with having lines, but I think he missed what I was explaining. Like, he started adding these kind of lines to make the world look rougher, but they're sort of just kind of dangling in space, or they don't really make much sense. I was hoping we'd have more lines like... The whole point of this art style is that you can have a line and draw it over an area like this, the negative space, and you can kind of indicate to the player that this is a grid tile. And so what I need is for more of that, more lines going over the grid tiles. Yeah, so anyway, this is basically what I've been doing all week, is articulating these ideas, cutting up the world, working with the level artists and so forth. Also working on marketing assets. I wonder if I can show you some work in progress. I did some passes on the intro scenes for each of the characters, and I did a render out for my guys for the green screen. So like, let me find some. And I'll talk to you guys on Twitch. I always do an intro for YouTube. I'm sorry. Just give me a sec. Right. So things like I green screened out so all the characters and gave them to my boys at Surface Digital to like mock up some different potential pieces of key art, and we're still playing around with that. I don't think we're quite there yet. This one was my bad. I needed to light him better. And they obviously did a paint over real quick just to fix little things. Like you can see this is munched down, but if I... So what I sent them was... Oops. It's gonna be hard to say. They basically like did a quick paint over for some of these things. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so yeah, we're working on that. We've got key art. We've been picking at this back and forth each day, and I think this is coming along pretty well. I think we're gonna wrap that up on Monday, and then we'll have art for GDC. Yeah. What else has been going on? I think I said I tweaked some of the opening scenes, or sorry, some of the character intros. And it's just been a lot of random things, basically. I'm doing a lot of random stuff. So yeah, my voice is already shot. I'm not used to using it. Find my dashboard. Hey Marcos, hey Adwell, hey Sekadun, Sadukun. Happy Saturday. I feel like I'm forgetting a load of stuff. Oh yeah. This took an afternoon. Figuring out the skirt for the world. I still don't have anything final, but I modeled it. And part of modeling it was figuring out the shape of the world and coming up with more of these kind of shapes. Fleshing them out. I still don't have... I've basically chunked up the world, but not quite. Like, I've chunked up this half of the world for outsourcing and much of this. But a lot of, like, this area is all still individual boxes. I've got to get those exported and ready for Surface Digital to work with. But in general, this is coming together. I still don't have this figured out. Like, I think I want to replace that still, but yeah, I filled in the negative space and the gaps. We've got a lot to do, man. The levels look dim. Do they hear, or I think there's just a lot of light and glare on my PC right now, so I'm having trouble seeing. It does look darker than usual right now, but I think that's just glare on my machine. And I have talked to Rick. He does want so when you're actually playing the game, it's important to me that this stands out, but I think it stands out maybe a bit too much right now. I think I'm shifting the background too far towards purple. I need to definitely play with the colors a bit more, because it is just getting a bit too dark. Part of that made sense in the old art style, because the old art style wasn't very good. Oh, another thing I did was I finished the papers up. So like the papers there's right, okay, so there's a couple more things I did. I animated some papers, so I don't know why I'm proud of this. those two were there before. I added the ability so if you use a controller, these switch out. It's being controller stuff. I think Surface Digital is going to go in and like Rick is going to go in and come up with a better thing. This is just my stub asset for hit Q and E. I animated the papers flying away. So yeah, we have prompts. That was important. Oh, another thing I did was, I mentioned this in the Discord. I started playing around with the idea that if you are... So when I had somebody play the game on Saturday, they did not have fun. And they could have easily... They hit a puzzle that they were stuck on and they could have gone to a different puzzle and tried that, but they didn't. They just kind of banged their head on it for a long time and then quit. So here's a solution I'm trying. If you bang your head against the wall and you die a lot and you're frustrated, because she was like really frustrated, eventually Rue will bark at you or somebody else will be like, hey, come play this level. That's something I'm trying. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. I'm going to playtest that later. I think I'm going to do a playtest on Monday. Okay, cool. I'm glad you like it, Sudage. It's really hard for me to tell right now. I'm glad I'm not in a basement anymore. It's nice. It's nice having light, but it also means like I get wicked glare on my monitor. Oh god, what else did I do this week? I don't know, man. There's just been a lot of shit. I can't believe it's been a week. GDC is really coming up fast. I got a lot more work to do for that too. But we're not going to think about that right now. Right now, because you got to balance out, like I want to have a build for GDC that's good and current and has as much art as possible. But I don't want to have the team working on like a demo. You know what I mean? I never want anybody to be doing throwaway work. And I do think like, I think there's a way to get a demo ready for GDC and also not do throwaway work. Which is mostly, I think we're gonna keep doing new levels until next week, and then they have all my notes. They're gonna go back and they're gonna perfect everything that's done. The brain can count visually up to 3 to 4 tiles of distance. I like your oh, I should read this for the people on YouTube, because Marcos knows this shit. The perception of the grid, I believe it's not so important for each tile to have demarcations, but that sections of undemarcated tiles are not more than 3 or 4 tiles wide. Personally, I find about 2 tiles is really very reasonable. I find more than that is bad, and I find a much bigger problem in my game, Marcos, is the negative space. So, for instance, I can show you like all the hiccups that come when you make a game like this, and I will, because it's fun. There's 2 major ones. One is the perception of how far a gap is not as easy for people as the perception of the tiles, right? For obvious reasons. Like, how many tiles is this away from this? It's actually not that easy to read. Which is why this is a place where in my notes I'm like, I want you to take a line and draw it here. And in fact, Rick said he might be able to experiment with like having a little crosshatch here of somehow making this look like, somehow demarcating that this is 2 tiles. Or more importantly, like, it's okay. I force the camera to be straight on for a lot of reasons. And one of them is it's very difficult. Like if I didn't have this demarcation here between these 3 tiles, it'd be difficult to see exactly where this lines up relative to this. A lot of people would assume that this jumping from here would land you there, right? So in general, the gaps are where I get a lot of problems. The other thing you get is the perspective problems, right? This is something I've seen a lot of other people's games, and I experience it a lot and fight it a lot in mine too. And a great example, because this is a level they haven't done yet. Well, this is a level that I don't think is up to par for a lot of reasons. This is a new person, don't shit on their artwork. But look at this level right now and tell me, do you understand it just looking at it from this angle? How high is this block relative to this block in 3D space? Do you realize it's 1 block higher? No, right? Like, you don't feel it. It doesn't feel like that. You kind of lose that perspective. And if you're somebody like me that takes either the controller and moves around a lot or moves the mouse around a lot, that's really easy to pick up. I work in 3D for a living, so for me, like the first thing I do when I get into any level like this is I understand it in 3D really quickly by just moving it around. Playtesters never fucking do that. I don't know, well, I know why, but they just don't. They don't usually move the camera at all. They'll first try to solve the puzzle entirely without ever moving the camera. And if they do move it, they'll move it QE, like this, right? This is another thing they have to be careful to stay within the footprint. I'm losing my mind about this. Sorry, I'm getting frustrated. I'm not sleeping enough. So they have my notes. I love the work they're doing, for the record. These guys out in the UK are great. Anyway, yes, this is a problem. This is something, selling the vertical height is important. I have notes for how to do that here. But those are the places where I have trouble. Yeah. And that's something that's hard to explain to people. Like I've talked to Alan about this before, and he's like, you can solve it with design. And I'm like, no. Well, you could by designing a game that isn't a verticality. But like, that's not what I want to design. Now, is it? So I've got to figure out a way to sell this. That's the trick. I'll kind of hand wave this one in my notes too. I hope they come up with something. I think it's interesting. I don't know. We're struggling with this area. I wanted, when I was describing the areas, I was like, this is an area where this will be like construction, you know, or like set building, painting, doing things like that in the backstage area. And they kind of got the idea, but like, I feel like we could do more with paint blotches. I feel like they have some ideas for paint blotches that'll be interesting. We haven't hit this area yet. I feel like with the luggage and props area, we've hit it. You know what I mean? This area is obviously like the color space. That strip doesn't have color. This is, I love the ladder. I think that's good. I think more elements like that. And this goes back to your thing, Marcos. I don't think they need a line in the ladder. I think the ladder reads as a 2x1. Like you can just read it. Like that line is, these marks aren't necessary. They're cute, but they're not necessary. Oh, more like this. But yeah, you can tell Andy and I are of one mind. We're congealing here on something. Like, I have a lot of notes for these areas, but like if you play through these areas, we've kind of, and I added a block here to just ruin his day. But I feel like we're getting close to the art style here. This is, I think him polishing this up is going to be pretty quick. It's going to be a matter of adding lines, kind of messying things up a little bit. I think we're getting there. I actually kind of liked the book idea here. I don't think we can reuse it, but it's cute. Different shading for vertical heights. Doing that in some places, Ymir, especially for places where you've got to like, so I haven't worked on the shader yet. This is all embarrassingly in progress. I actually kind of hate showing this stuff off like this, but you saw me working on it at one point. So you see how, like, to me, it's very important to be able to sell which height you're looking at when you're changing between players. Like, Quat can only move on these boxes, whereas Rue can move on these boxes, right? And having the shader change when you go from one height to another is very important. So I already kind of have that idea. There's this cross-hatching is exploration I'm doing. And I'll pull into that probably more. The artists are allowed to do a bespoke pass on every level. What do you mean? Like, yeah, I want them to. Each level is just a mesh. And I mean, part of this is like, some of it, they definitely have to. Like, I spec'd out the idea that there would be a curtain coming out of here, and they kind of went back in and added something, but you can definitely see that, like, this level, I'm showing you intentionally some levels that are further along, but like this one, like that's just not figured out yet. That's just like, what even is that, right? That just needs a bit of polish right there. And I think there's certain assets where we need to have more polish. And I told them to, like, keep in mind, so far they've been doing these at a rate of like, they'll bang out one level a day-ish, maybe a little bit faster than that, with the promise that they can go back in and clean it up later. Because I need them to, well, for one thing, like this doesn't have a texture on it right now, it's just white. That's a hard thing to explain too. So I've had them, nothing is UV'd. I had them take all the UVs for any given object and put it in a place on a texture, which I can show you if you're interested. So everything is just one color for the most part, with the exception of the modeled lines. And yeah, I did promise them they would go back in and they'd get something like a level a day to polish, and they can spend that time however they want. Like this level might take more than a day if they want to make it kind of a hero piece or something. But I need them to get the rough stuff in so that I can work on places that aren't working. Like for instance, here's one that we need to solve. This, I want to get rid of this occluder, but that means like I need to somehow indicate that there's a block here when you turn this way. Otherwise, it'll look weird that you hit a wall. I need to chunk up this level more, and I didn't realize I needed to chunk up that level until now, because I'm having them put this stuff in. I'm glad you like it, Adwell. We're getting there. Yeah, I actually do a fake shadow under the character to indicate the falling spot too. So like, if you look here, see Quat's shadow right now, he'll move left or right. And if you go up here, see how shadow moves there? I probably need to darken it. It's not that dark right now because I need a shadow that works for both these levels and also my stub levels, where that effect on the stub levels is very dark. Which is probably why you didn't notice it, but like, you definitely notice it here, right? You can see the shadow telling you where you're gonna land. Alan Hazelden had a good idea, which is to make the shadow turn a different color if you can't go in that direction. But I need to figure out what color that'll be. I might go with a different shape or something, I don't know. You had avocado on toast. It is delicious. It is, yes. Welcome to the brave new world, man. Next level. Egg and avocado on toast. What is your important question, Rory? I need to know. Why do I hate you? Well, it's because you're different from me. Isn't that why people hate other people? It's the differences that drive a wedge between us. If you would simply just be more like me, then we wouldn't have these issues. So, let's cut up this level. Here's what we're gonna do. So one thing I already fixed is this box needs to not be here. I don't know why it's there. I also open this up. Hold on a minute. Nice. Hey, Cowhorn. Cowholm, excuse me. All right. I started this morning before breakfast, moving this level around completely. Why can't I see it? Let's look at the shaders. Sorry. Come on, brain. Levels. Alright, well, what I need to do is... so I need to cut this... Oh, God. I don't know what to do here. I think I need to cut this into 2 parts. Because it can't overhang. You know what I could do? Okay, I see a solution. Okay, I'm gonna undo some stuff I think I did. Well, let me undo it. How far back can I go? From this morning, please. Give me the box back. Wow, I have a long undo queue here. Back in time. Oh, too far. Okay, maybe redo. There's no commits to redo. Fuck you, Maya. Hold on a minute. Okay, yeah, we're getting to a stupid place now. I should have saved before I did all that. Let's save scene as temp. When was the last time I saved you? Oh, good. I did nothing in this one. God damn it. Okay. Well, here we go. So here's what I want. I know exactly what to do now, though. Okay, so let's take this box. The camera's all messed up. This is actually really hard to navigate. Okay, so this is the level they gave me. Setting aside, I was fixing some stuff here. We don't need to fix that right now. Let's... I'm really giving up all this stuff I did. Yeah, fine. Yes, I am. Where's my hypershade? There we go. And lines. Okay, so here's the level. Here's what I need from the level. I need this box. I'm sure they have a much better way of doing this than I do. But... I don't know their process right now. I need that box to be that high. Next game, I'm going to do a similar art style, but I'm going to create tools that make this much easier. And we're going to be able to achieve this with much less bullshit. I didn't do it this game because I didn't know what I was doing. But now that I know the style I like and how to achieve it, I swear to you, next game will be better. So the goal here, I don't know why they did this. It's a weird decision. We're not going to worry about that. Hey, Quill. Why did you merge the mesh in Maya? I didn't. They're using a combination of, one of them is using Max, one of them is using Blender. They hand off an FBX. I get what they give me. They've separated things out by objects, scribbles, and lines. They've done this uniformly across everything. It doesn't make much sense to me. I do feel like the first thing, if I was going to go in and really do some reconstructive surgery, the first thing I would do is like mesh separate and then work with the different elements, which maybe I should just do It's a decent idea. Let's see if Maya crashes today. Yeah, I dig that. Excellent idea. Don't know why I was working stupidly before. Why are you doing this? It's scaling. There we go. Okay, so there's a reason I did this. Right? Yes. Okay. So, why are you doing a save as? Art source. I'm going to break this out into a micro level that just flies up. I'm going to have this be a level that just goes... Yes. How do I want to do this? Yes. we need to get rid of this concept. Do you ever see that low? Ever? Kinda. Wait, do you? No, you don't. Okay, good. Alright, so this can just go. Because we just don't need it. Pretty sure we don't need it. Either way, it's just not going to work in the brave new world. So yeah, this will be its own micro level. Good. Let's see what this looks like in game. Save, file, export all. Why is nothing leaking up anymore? Oh shit, what the fuck? Oh wow, that's a long ass export. This game could use a power of Houdini voxel-based level generation. Are you talking about the one you're working on, Sudoku? There's definitely a lot of ways I could have. Now that I know what I want for the art style, if I was going to go back again and do it, I could do it smarter. It's just too late. We've just got to get it done. But like, I feel like some time just exploring the tech art of this, figuring out how you can make shapes like this much quicker, would have been good. I just didn't know the style I was hitting, and we've just kind of reached that point. So that was an excessively large export time, which means, of course, it's gonna be quite a lengthy re-import, huh? Oh, not that bad. Okay, so this is what we're gonna go for. Ignore that the material IDs are all messed up. Yeah. Let's start breaking it out. So what I want is you and you and well, let's file save CNAS. This is gonna be 07B. Oh, 07B is gonna have just only these three. Yeah. All right. All right, you're gonna be 07B. It's kind of fun to watch that load. All right, so I'll get rid of that from this level. Now that that is gone, file save as 07C. Guess what a 7C is? Literally just that one box. Now we go back to 07. Oopsies. All right, and this, I didn't combine it, so it'll take a while. Never heard of volume fitting. That sounds cool. I'm not sure if you need to merge the assets. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know why they decided to do that. They're consistent about it. I feel like I would have merged the assets. Like I would have combined the outlines with the objects so you could move the objects around more easily, rather than grouping them by shader. I haven't upgraded to 4.21 yet. I had some kind of issues. I'm going to have to, for reasons, upgrade to the latest Unreal Engine, but it's not trivial, so I'm going to do it after GDC. There's some circular dependency. There's probably more than a few that I need to fix after GDC, and then I'll upgrade the engine. Right now I'm on 4.20. What are we doing? Yeah, okay. So now we've got these multiple meshes. Hold on a minute. Let's pull those in. So I'm going to pull in what we had. I'm going to fix up the materials on it. Bedding. Nope. Okay, so what's your deal? Looks like this should be scribbles. Looks like this should be lines. Looks like this should be tops. Uh-oh. I see. We've lost our shader. God damn it. So for you, I need a separate shader applied to the anything you're walking on, basically. Because that anything you walk on has just different rule sets, and the easiest way to do it was just have a separate shader for it. I will say merging things does make it, I'm just going to combine it because it makes it so much faster to export. Also, they're doing it, so I might as well. Mesh, combine. Export all. See how lightning fast the export is when it's all combined? Maybe that's why they do it. Okay. Well, that's not right. There we go. Okay, and we're back. All right, so now this is a separate mesh. Let's pull in the other two that we broke off. Oh, crap. D. Both these set collision. No, I'm not gonna set collision. Okay, good. No collision. And then let's set your materials. This is scribble. need to go back and fix that one. That's got the same lack of walkable space. This one's easy because nothing's walkable on it. So you should be line. Oopsies. Oh. Okay. So now we got this separate mesh levels. Alright, so this ugly ass level. This is going to load with either of these two levels. That's the goal. It's basically the whole point of all this. You are tagged to move with opening levels of 7. I would like you to also be tagged opening levels of 4 and opening levels of 8. You are not the center of any level. You are a follower. So now, if opening levels 04 or 08, which are both this mesh, are loaded, then this stays up and moves with it and is lit with it. And same thing with, it's also tagged to move with 07. So this is basically a part of both levels under the hood. And that's what we did right there. And the next thing is you similar idea. You are a follower. You're already a follower, good. You are tagged, you're actually tagged to only move those 7, but you're gonna be special under the hood. For you, I'm gonna set this to, when everything else moves down, this is gonna move up. And the way I do that is by scripting it. There's a parameter on the material I need to set for every object that flies up rather than down. And I just kind of set it on game load for exactly this object. Now let's fix your materials before we test this, because I know your materials are wrong. So save that, open OC. Separate shader for the top. Always re-import twice because this version of Unreal has got some weird import bugs. So I've got, let's see what we got here. I need you to have objects, top, and lines. And you're good. Okay, so that should do that. Now we test it. If you are on this level, everything is loaded. It looks like just like it did before. If you're on and everything else is moving around the way I'd expect, good. If you're on this level, and I go this way, ha, that box flies up, the other stuff flies down. They need to finish arting this level. That can't just be dangling in space, but you know, what you gonna do? They'll get there. Okay. Sweet. Now just to finish this off, on this level I still have that corner that I put in. I'm just gonna get rid of that little stub because we're not going with that paradigm anymore. and then we'll be done with this specific one task. Copy of a new image, Lambert 04. Yeah, I know. I'm not the best. Hey, do people use the Unreal Slackers Discord? I'm in it, but it feels like it's just, you reach a point where there's just too many people. And it, like, those Discords can't be useful when there's that many people, in my opinion. I feel like we're there. I feel like there's certain things where forums are good, where you can search by topic and you can separate topics more. Discord is just, I don't know, man. The other thing is you need to separate people based on experience level, because it's difficult. Like, I don't want to be a bitch about it, but like, I'm an expert in animation in Unreal, and there's questions that are really deep and interesting that I could totally dive into, but I can't wade through like the hundreds of like all the bullshit in just specifically the animation. Like, how do I get an animation blueprint to work? I can't find the gold. There's just too much in that Discord. Maybe I'm just complaining, but Discord is not good for a lot of things. I feel like it's good for very focused things, or for if you're very junior, maybe, or new. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, I have to keep changing between Z up and Y up because everybody uses different settings. It's like I'm in college again. Actually, that's not true. At the end of the day, I am the only one that uses Z up, but I use Z up for very specific reasons. I've built my entire pipeline around the idea of Z up for my animation stuff, because I was used to having to switch between Max and Maya. It's a hell of a lot easier to move animation data between Maya if it's in Z up and Max in Z up versus an Unreal Engine being Z up. It's just easier to make Maya conform than to try to get everything else to conform to Maya. Plus, Maya works perfectly. Like, you flip a bool and it's Z up. I don't know. I believe this is a good idea. Whatever. I'll shut up. You're there all the time answering questions like, where can I download UE4? Good for you, man. You know, there's gotta be some people that do that. Do you get, like, respect from the, or not respect, do you get, like, props from Epic and stuff? I don't follow them as closely as I should. I've been trying to follow their streams a bit more. Yeah. It's the community around, like, I feel like Unity has a very strong community. It's one of the things they got going for it, right? Whereas everyone I know in Unreal, we're all a bunch of assholes from AAA who only, like, talk to each other, really. We don't really we'll share a dump of knowledge at GDC or something. But even that's, whenever we do that, we're very careful not to, most people are more careful than me, not to make it very Unreal specific. In fact, my feedback from most of my talks is to, like, make it less Unreal specific. But I feel like for certain things in Unreal specifically, it's difficult to separate the engine from what you're making because there's so many assumptions in the engine. And if you just lean into them, you can utilize a lot of the power. To the degree where if I talk to somebody that's working in another engine, it takes a while to figure out how to speak with them after a while. Like words like pawn, or the idea that everything is an object, or just there's certain ideas I'm just not used to thinking about. Skill level segregation is certainly valuable at some point. A huge pool of potential answers is great for a beginner, but a more senior individual probably needs more specific solutions. Yeah, that's true. Coil. And there's also a reality of, like, a lot of this project I'm working in stuff I've never done before, so I find a lot of value in going and, like, is this even possible using audio? Those kinds of questions. So for that, I that's why I'm in that Discord, is because, like, I actually creep on the audio section because I got no idea what I'm doing there. And there's a dude there, like Dan the R or whatever, who's super knowledgeable and, like, really patient. I've actually sent him videos, we've gone back and forth and stuff. So I guess I should stop bitching. The Epic community is pretty strong, I'm just not a part of it. I think I'm mad because every indie in Boston uses Unity. Like every indie in Boston uses Unity. And the only people I know in Boston that use Unreal are like Ghost Story, who you'll never hang out with them. Proletariat, I don't know how to hang out with them. And people that I used to work with at Irrational, who are now like running different studios. But we've kind of formed a bubble that's not part of the indie community. Like I'd say Proletariat's kind of III. And I would say like Ghost Story is definitely III, basically AAA. A former coworker from Bungie just joined Ghost Story. Yeah, they're interesting. Their solution to a lot of the industry's problems right now is to do project hire, which I think is really, I think they're doing a really fun experiment. I'm watching pretty closely how that goes. They're hiring people at this point and they're saying, look, you only have a job until the project ships and this is when we project it'll ship, so plan to have something after that. They are, yeah. So Ghost Story, Irrational shut down technically. Ken threatened to leave entirely. He renegotiated, oh, fuck, how does this work? Take-Two owns 2K and Rockstar. Irrational was underneath the 2K brand, working for Christoph and them. They didn't get along super good. Ken quit. 2K closed Irrational. Ken negotiated to found a new studio under Take-Two and just pulled 12 people from Irrational, we called them the Cylons, to form Ghost Story. And so they're under Take-Two, not 2K. But they're fully funded to millions of dollars. And they've now, they've ramped up to like over 50 people, but most of their people, like I think they've only got 20-ish people that are actual hires, and they've got like over half their staff is project hires. We call them, so when we were laid off, we were told everybody was going to leave and 12 people were going to go form a new studio with Ken, but they thought it would be weird if they told us the names. So we just knew that there were 12 people that would be going. Ken was one of them, I believe. There would be 12 people that would go form a new studio under Take-Two. We don't know who they are, and so at the bar we immediately, like, I don't remember the first person that called them the Cylons, but it stuck immediately. We're like, we need the list. Who are the Cylons? Are they among us? Because you know you got that weird survivor's guilt if you have a job, and like if 130 people lose their job and 10 people keep it, you know, like you got some really crazy survivor guilt. So you almost don't want to admit it, and in a way it almost feels worse. In a way it almost is worse, because everybody that leaves eventually wound up, no. It's a mixed bag. I don't know. I gave an interview about this recently, actually. Some people have been pinging ex-Irrational devs and trying to get like a book written. They may not know themselves. I think they knew. The most notable, of course, was Crombie. I talked about him in a talk once, and I love that. Crombie's a very principled programmer. He was the gameplay programmer that was at Irrational from the very beginning. He was supposed to be one of the Cylons. And he was like, fuck this, I go down with my ship. You're going to lay off all my staff? I'm going to save one. I refuse to be saved. You need a programmer. Pick one of them. Here's the one I recommend. Out. And he pieced. He went to go work at Epic on Fortnite, which at the time was like a fucking struggling project. Struggling for a long time. And then now it's not. Now he's got a second home. So sometimes good things happen to good people. I haven't seen Crombie in a while. She's gone to GDC. You know, we started out, after Irrational shut down, we'd have a kind of get-together every Friday at GDC, the ex-Irrational devs. It was official, but it stopped being official. But we still, like, it still kind of happened every year. Hope it happens again this year. It's good to see where everybody landed, because everybody landed on their feet eventually, and a lot of people ended up in much cooler places. You want to go to GDC? It's fun, Coil. You definitely, your first couple suck, I'll warn you. Oh, yeah, never mind, you know this. You're from Bungie and you know Seth. Coil, who are you? Do I know you? Seth is pretty big on setting up parties. Seth and Paul. God, what is Paul's last name? British Paul, that lives in Montreal right now, and everybody fucking knows him. He knows the entire industry. Paul's like a legend. He'll wander into a random bar in a random city, and he'll be there. You won't know how. Just talking to the townies. He's just the most social person of, next to maybe Rami, the most social person of, no, probably more social than Rami. Paul might just be that social. Oh, you're Dan Johnson. Hey, dude. Oh, shit, man. Where are you now, man? Blizzard for the last 4 years. Oh, still there? How are things? That's bitchy. I didn't mean to say it like that, but like, oh, I heard it didn't get, never mind. Like, I read the news. I assume you're cool because you're here, not, yeah. Blizzard. The Heroes QA team got laid off. 4 of them. I have questions that I can't ask on this. Yeah, I definitely read the papers about it and stuff. Blizzard's always been, they're so big. Like, it's difficult to, the largest studio I've worked at had 100 and some people, and I can't imagine having a studio in the thousands and keeping a uniform culture or anything, you know? I can ask. I don't even know really where to start with this conversation. Like, I feel like we'd have to have a call. I don't know. I'm glad you're okay. I know things about Blizzard. I know they've got like, they throw me, okay. The idea of golden handcuffs is an interesting one. The idea that, I always kind of like the idea that if you work on a project and it does well, you get paid a royalty. And I can understand how you can't calculate that royalty until like maybe a year out because you don't know how much money the game's really made. But you get these rolling royalties, especially if you're on a project like World of Warcraft, where they'll pay you a royalty quarterly for 3 years after you launch a thing, or for like they'll pay you these quarterly royalties such that it never makes sense to leave. And if you ever leave and come back, your salary will be way lower. So you can't really explore, you can't really leave. You've kind of got the golden handcuffs after a couple years. You're just like stuck there, right? Then Bungie was 600. Man, Bungie's a fascinating one too. Shit, we should just have a call. Like, I'm curious. Bungie is interesting because I don't know why they split. I definitely talked to some people there that are spinning up a new team. They definitely seem to have like money, and they're in a place where it's like, we've got, I don't know, millions, and I think we're gonna just we're gonna take a year and then come up with a pitch, and they're just saying these things and it's unbelievable. We want to be scrappy like indies, but except we have millions, and we're just gonna like, yeah, they bought themselves out. Bungie's independent now. Sidogun. The whole Seattle game industry is weird. It's hard to explain what it's like to go between these AAA studios and then talk to indies and then like see the reality of how different people in the industry live. It's not just the income inequality. It's amazing. It's amazing to like explain. Like, Ken is calling himself indie, which is cute, but like at Irrational, there was a time when we just recorded a song by accident and we're just like, oh shit, well, we still don't want it even though we have it because we didn't intend to record it. So I guess that's $70,000 down the drain. And that was just kind of fine. And I talked to people who are like, that's their budget for their game. And I don't know how to explain, like, you'll talk to people who are afraid of, you'll talk to like Elmore is working on Gears of War. This is my favorite example. And he has no problem charging a crap ton of money. Is there a massive pay gap? Yes. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Especially because we're a global economy. I mean, your engineers are going to make $200,000 a year. Like if you're in business, you call it man months, which is a conversation that happened recently, which is like, or sorry, you call it, you think of like a dev of an all-in cost for a developer in San Francisco is going to be like $16,000 a month, right? And that's just to pay them salary, benefits, have a computer and desk for them somewhere in the city and so forth. The cost, most indies will charge people or will expect to pay about $7,000 a month for a developer if you're like small-time indie. Some indies charge even less than that. And then you get an array in between. And I think you can look up certain things, like Disbelief is really open. I think they publish exactly how much they pay their people. And there's a reality there that like towards the end of Gears of War or any of these projects that Disbelief works on, I can't name them, these large companies like Microsoft and so forth, they've got these franchises that are worth millions and millions of dollars, and they're going to spend millions and millions in marketing, and they just need the fucking thing to run it right. And so they'll easily pay like a programmer $250,000 a year to make it happen, because they have to ship, time can't change, and they've got to like they have the money, and that amount of money is a drop in the bucket compared to the budget for the game. So yes, absolutely, between AAA and indie, there's a massive disparity. And now there's a really interesting disparity, which is like, to me, interesting, which is like the AAA indie, which is like indies that operate, have like a foot in both doors. There's also just the reality of the global marketplace is going to change some of these things very quickly, I think. Programmers have to be competitive versus tech like Netflix or Google. That's true. Programmers will make more than anybody else because enticing a programmer from a tech company costs a lot. That's accurate. It's also harder to outsource. My opinion on Blizzard. My general goal in the industry has been to work on something I love. Prime goal 1. P2, get paid enough. No, that's an interesting flip. 3, job security. Blizzard has been the best of all 3 until last week. There's definitely like a threshold of how much I want to work on something versus how much I need to eat, which I balance. So it's not like a one or the other. It's kind of like a line, like you got to be somewhere on the curve. Yes, the cost of living in San Francisco or LA is a lot. I think one of my greatest achievements, the reason why I have so much savings, is because I managed to live on so little in San Francisco. Because in San Francisco, the key is getting your rent down. You can eat pretty cheap. If you can get your rent down, you can do a lot. And I used to pay like $1,000 in rent because I would never rent an apartment. I would rent a room in a house, or I basically cohabited the entire time I lived there. I saved a crap ton of money. But it's even worse now. I don't even know what I would do now. Because my experience is dated at this point. I haven't been there. I moved out of San Francisco like 7 years ago. I'm trying to think of what to ask as far as Bungie goes. Bungie's interesting. Blizzard is interesting. They just have so much money. It's weird talking to those people. It's hard to say where these things are going to go. Because the other side of this is like, if you're a scrappy indie, you can make a sweet return on your game, but you'll never be Fortnite. San Francisco will build a wall someday to stay away from the immigrants. San Francisco was wicked liberal when I lived there. I have a hard time imagining that. I don't think the anti-immigration stuff comes from them. And San Francisco was way too logical to build a fucking wall. They'll build an infrared camera system or some shit that'll like track the immigrants, tag them by their heat signature, hunt them down later. Like they'll come up with a thing. They'll pick them up with self-driving cars and they'll cart them to the border. They won't build a wall. They're smarter out there. It'll obviously run off of their phone. It'll probably be an AR device. They'll come up with some over-engineered thing. Probably a thing that already exists, but like doesn't have enough weird tech shit involved, and they'll fix it. It'll be a force field. San Francisco invents what is basically a door. San Francisco will raise prices higher to force people out naturally. Well, I don't know how much higher prices can go. We'll see. That is kind of happening, I suppose. I haven't been there in a long time. But every year that passes, there's fewer... What is it? Underprivileged individuals. There's fewer women and minorities in San Francisco every year. So they're just getting priced out. It's gonna be a sad, lonely place soon. Though, when I lived there, a lot of people were moving from San Francisco to Colorado and Austin. Those were the two new destinations. That's how the neighborhoods in Boston got up to what they are. Oh, I don't know, man. Boston has always had, in my experience and talking to people, Boston is very interesting. It's not it can spread. There's a lot more room around. Whereas San Francisco is kind of like stuck on a smaller amount of land. So you can have more boroughs and neighborhoods and stuff. It's got very diverse opinions because the second anybody becomes too successful, they leave Boston and go to New York anyway, right? Like Boston's a very blue-collar town compared to New York, which is way too close. So it'll never be competitive on that level. I feel like, yeah, and you feel the income inequality in Boston in a way that I never felt in San Francisco, but in a way it's almost more honest. I don't know how to explain it. Like in San Francisco, you'd walk around and there'd be like a billionaire in like jeans and a t-shirt looking like you couldn't tell. You would look at somebody, you'd have no idea who they were. Like everybody looked like a hobo, which is kind of cool, and I sort of liked that. Whereas one of the things I'm not sure if I like it or not is in Boston, you can look at somebody and you just know, like, somebody has money, they drive a very nice car, and they have nice things, and they live in certain neighborhoods, and there's more segregation here. But it's still such a small city that, like, walking from Dorchester to downtown Boston is like, what, 2.5, 3 miles? And then walking from the center of downtown Boston to the center of Cambridge is like, what, 2.5 miles? Like it's just so close and it's so walkable. And you have so many different ideas. You've got like you got the Boston, like blue collar, sports girls, like the Boston kind of, traditional philosophy kind of thing going like in Southie and so forth. And then you got like Cambridge, Harvard, and like the intellectual sphere kind of there. And you got like the artsy community and kind of like Jamaica Plain and Somerville. You've got like little, like the kind of cheaper areas where the people who make people like me live. And then you got like I guess you could also call that the more gentrifying areas recently. I don't know. Like I like Boston. I don't know where I'm going with this. There's the things I hate about Boston are like the weather and shit like that. Yeah, it's all just smushed. Which is kind of not people like me. People who make video games, people who can't afford to live in like a brownstone downtown, but really, for some reason, can't afford to get avocados from Mexico brought up here for our toast. Like, people like me live in Somerville. I live in Somerville. I don't know, fuck it. It's cheaper than Cambridge, and it's a really nice brewery up the street. And, I don't know, whatever. Alright, later, man. Have fun, Dan. The terrible people are gentrifying things. People like me. What were we doing? I was deleting that and then I was going to re-export those. I love streaming. It makes the time fly. Also, I get nothing done. Don't always like what's good for you. File export. It is a fun place to live, definitely. Like I've started going to a CrossFit gym because it's the only place near me where I can get, like, it's expensive. I pay like $70 a month just to use the damn gym, and I don't do like the classes and the cult stuff. But like I want to say over half the people in my gym have PhDs, like in random shit. A lot of them are professors, or just they have PhDs for some reason, and they're doing like research of some sort. And it's just interesting. Like, you're just surrounded by interesting people. But I'll say, like, last year I was literally like a mile that way, and I was going to a Gold's gym, and it was just like, I would go there and I would overhear like Trump supporters and what's the right way to put it? More salt of the earth, blue collar stuff. City blue collar, salt of the earth kind of stuff. I don't know. There's not a term for this. You just kind of like get all sorts here, which is fun. Do I find it to be helpful or more of a distraction? Definitely a distraction. Missanian. But it's good if you need to practice. Early on, I think it was better because it takes a while. Anytime you start a new initiative, it takes a while to form the words to talk about what you're doing. And I think people underestimate how long and hard it is to come up with the words in order to describe what you do. And if you stream a lot, you're kind of forced to do that. So it's good practice in some ways. Hey Noguri, what's up, man? But yeah, definitely more of a distraction. Some people find it more, like William Cheer seems to think it helps him work. So one more thing. For this level, I have a next note. The level we just tuned. We're going to break it down even further, and I'm going to show you why. So this chunk here, I tried to explain this when they were making the level. And they haven't done a finished pass on this yet. But like, first off, I hate this shape. It should look like something that you can hit. It needs to look more like a wall, like a box. Second off, I realized I made a mistake here because I want it to be part of this level as well. I actually dislike that this is blue, but I can't break it out right now because it's tied to that level. And obviously when you turn around, what you see is incorrect, blah, blah, blah. You turn around, I want to have that standing there. Ooh, fuck, how do I do that? Which means I might need to break the entire level down all the way down. So two things. I need to make it more of a box shape, and I need to make it something that works on both sides. My initial thought was I'll just break off the top and have it be something that flies up and down, but now I'm thinking that's not going to work, because if I turn around, I want there to be something here. So now we're going to rethink this level even further. Let's do this. Can I just cut? All right, let me change back to Z. Can I cut straight down? No. Almost. But no. All right. I think I need to. Let's rejigger this more. Oh, it's cool watching that get drawn. I will say, I like that. All right, let's say we take all of this. Oops, Jesus. All right. Oh, crap, they've done a lot of work here. I wish my camera wasn't all messed up. All right. This is all separate. One piece bullshit. Ugh. How do I separate you? Maybe I can't. Maybe I just need to delete this. Sorry, guys. This was your first stab at it. That'll be fine. Sorry. Okay, what I need is... for my camera to stop acting stupid. I also need for... I hate breaking other people's stuff. Actually, wait, do I need to do that? Yes, I do. I need to do what I'm doing. Okay. Don't doubt. A really quick solution for this. I wish my camera was not doing what it's doing very badly. That'd be neat. It would pivot around objects normally. I would find that pleasant. So basically I'm splitting these out. This is being done so sloppily. That'll sell the idea at least, right? 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 Oh, you live in Cambridge, England. I don't know. I don't know anything about the UK. I know there's an accent in the UK that just makes me... It's super rude and you don't want to hate someone. I don't hate, but like... So I'll listen to different podcasts and things. There's one accent in particular that for some reason, like, it gets to me. Like how, you know how some people, there's an accent that's really shrill, or if they hear a certain accent or a certain voice, it kind of like, it's irritating. And so they just generally don't listen to it. And for me, it's like, I love the British accent with the exception of like, I don't think I can do it. Like that kind of like, oh yes, well, like the posh, like, oh, like the very posh British accent. It just I don't like it. I can't listen to it. It hurts my ears. What's going on here? A normal issue. Select face. Whoops. Should have done that. Should not have done that. Same thing up here. Fix my normals. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is 07D. Remove all of this. however this person exported things, there's like loads of extra bits everywhere. Every polygon is its own thing. Bet this person uses Blender. Come on, don't be like this. Alright. File, export all. Oh, right. I didn't merge it. There are plenty of British accents that are irritating. Cambridge, UK sounds similar to Cambridge, US, very much defined by the university. Yeah. Okay, so in the UK, Cambridge is a very small place, so people are being priced out. See, I think part of that is we don't put a premium on education in America, so the poorest people are also the people that are professors. What a posh sentence. Oh, eels. God, I can't do it. Alright, hold on. Let's listen to some posh British. Posh British accent. We're gonna need to master this. No, I don't want to learn it. I want to hear somebody doing it. I don't want an instructional video. Just give me... Alright, the most posh motherfucker alive. Okay, that was just... Alright, here, let me turn this up so you guys can witness this with me.
Absolutely wonderful to see you again.
That's not that bad.
Okay, in today's video, I
actually don't mind that one. No, there's one that's way more irritating. Is it Welsh? Yo, help me out. Resmog. Jacob Resmog. Am I gonna get in trouble for Googling this? Is this like a...
Mr. Speaker, my right honourable friend...
Oh God, there it is.
...unquestionably honourable, said that we would leave the customs union. Annex 2 says otherwise. My right honourable friend said that she would maintain the integrity of the United Kingdom. A whole protocol says otherwise.
I just want to punch him. Like, I can't. It's not fair. It's just.
My right honourable friend
My
said that we would be out of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice. Article 174 says otherwise.
I feel like oppressing the proletariat. Like, oh God, I can't.
As what my right honourable friend says and what my right honourable friend does no longer match, should I not write to my right honourable friend, the member for Altrincham and...
Why is he even talking like this? Should my right honourable
sail west? This is not Brexit.
This is a failure Brexit.
Of government policy. It needs to be rejected. This is nothing to do with personal ambition. It needs
to be rejected.
I think a coup is when you use illegitimate procedures to try and overturn somebody who is in office.
Oh God, what a hateable person. It's not his fault. It's just his voice. I can't do it. Like, I don't know anything about this person or what they're saying, and it's just that voice. Just, I like something about it, man. Like, I can't place it. My right honourable friend. Oh, I'm sorry. This is probably, yeah, sorry. This is politics. This is politics I don't have a say in, so it's kind of fun to make fun of. Well, not really. Brexit's kind of a bad thing for everybody. Shit's going so bad so fast in America. It's just kind of nice to know that someone else in the world is also on the same crazy train as us. Like, and so I look at the Brexit and I'm like, oh God, at least we're not the only ones. Like, at least, you know, like if you're gonna lose your mind or some shit, if you're gonna have like an absurdly polarized, insane country situation occur, like it's kind of nice to know like we're not alone in that. And like we've got, you know, like the UK is crazy too. Like they're like our crazy cousin across the seas. And as much as I'm like, and it's weird because I empathize. I'm like, wow, that's insane what's going on with the Brexit. They have no idea what's going on over there. Do they have any kind of plan? Oh my God, they have no plan at all. And then I'm like, I get it. Because I'm in America right now. And so together it's like we're, you know, like it's a bonding thing. It's like we're in the shit at the same time. Does that sound pleasant to you, Sudokin? You said earlier you're from Russia, right? Oh, also, I missed something. You can select Control 1, select, delete. Okay, yeah, I am pixel hunting these lines in this stupid way. You're right. Show solidarity with the UK as we run off the cliff together. Yeah, I feel like, I bet it sounds, it's definitely like, I don't know what it is. There's something about that accent and I can't explain it because I love most British accents. I actually like the accent a lot, but that one has the opposite effect on me. You know how like, I think we're programmed in a way to assume things about people based on their accents just because of how we hear them in the media or something. I don't know what it is. Like, there's a lot of terrible examples that I really don't even want to go into. Like, there just is. Like, a lot of our villains have Russian accents, for instance. Or every dominatrix has kind of like a German accent for like no reason. Like, there's just certain accents that mean certain things if you're American. And that accent, like, somehow it's just been drilled into my brain that if you hear that, you should instinctively hate. And I do. Like, and it's not fair. I don't even know why. But I just can't. Like, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. I can't be the only one. I was told one time that, like, as an American, I think it's pretty universal. If you hear an Australian accent, you're like, that person's cool. You just assume it. Like, they're probably really laid back. They could be angry, but if you're angry with an Australian accent, you're like not actually angry. You're still pretty chill. It's a weird linguistic thing. I hope other people have that too. I hope I'm not just insane. So this is 7D, yes, okay. Let's go back to 7. Alright, and let's do the trick you said. You said select, control 1, select, delete. The Russian accent is evil? In a lot, I don't know if you've noticed, but you're not usually the hero in a lot of our movies in America. I think part of that's just like, well, definitely a lot of it's propaganda from throughout the ages and stuff. I can tell you things about, well, part of it's like my grandfather used to have to do drills where he would like, in case we get nuked or in case Russia loses their mind and nukes us, here's what you do. And they'd practice hiding under tables and shit. And you were always like, there's loads of propaganda throughout like my grandfather's age about like the Ruskies coming after us. Never trust a Ruski. So yeah, it's kind of like embedded into our culture in a small way. And it's tapered off over time, but still, like if you look at movies and stuff, we still tend to cast the Russians as the villain a lot of the time for like no reason. It's true. I think it's like yeah, I don't know why. I'm not even gonna speculate on that, but I think that's probably true. I don't think I'm crazy. Oh yeah, definitely in comics too. That's true. I mean, it's the same way here. US citizens portrayed here are like some evil party, and people are facepalm about that all the time. Or Jennifer Lawrence with a Russian accent. Jennifer Lawrence has a Russian accent? Is that a joke or is that real? I never noticed, but I might be. I don't want talking heads talking about her.
God, thank you so much, Sherry. It's a privilege to be here with you this morning and to be accepting this award named after one of the industry's greatest leaders and mentors.
Is that a Russian accent? I don't think that is. Oh, and what? Oh, and the Red Sparrow. I see. Yeah, Americans doing fake accents poorly is another thing we do in Hollywood a lot. I do like that. And it also has a ripple effect where we'll hear an accent in a movie, but we won't, like, say you've never met a Russian and the only Russian accent you've heard is from movies. Now whenever you try to do a Russian accent, you're doing basically a copy of a copy. So it tends to drift into something really weird. Same way like American Chinese food is delicious and amazing, but is nothing like Chinese food. I don't know, it's like a copy of a copy. I don't know where I'm going with that, but like if we heard I'm trying to think if I've ever met a, I know in San Francisco I met a Russian guy once, like a handful of times, but he didn't really have a thick accent, so it's hard to say. I don't think I've ever heard a real Russian accent in real life. I mean, I must have. I went to Gamescom. I don't know. Similar thing to Indian food in the UK. It's distinct, but nothing like actual Indian food. Yeah, you get that weird thing where it's like, I'm craving Chinese food, but not actual Chinese food. I'm craving like our bullshit American Chinese food right now. Whereas sometimes I'm craving actually like dim sum. Those are two totally different cravings because they're two totally different things. I imagine you have that too. Like, there's a difference between when you want authentic Indian food and when you want like that bullshit street food, right? I would love to watch movies where Americans are cast as the villain. Actually, I want to see more Russian cinema now. I feel like I should hunt this down. American movies go way over the top, exaggerating Russian accents. In real life, they're way more toned down. Yeah, I buy that. I'm trying to think of all the... Like, I think I'm a little bit too young to have some proper Russian propaganda. Like, I don't remember much... Like, actual Russian propaganda we haven't had in a while. There's just the kind of soft stuff, like they're generally the villains in Hollywood movies. Can't think of anything that's, like, very overt. Up until recently with, like, the election stuff. But even that's kind of, like... mixed up into American politics. It's not really commentary on Russia. Alright, what did you tell me to do before? Let's do this. Select Control I. Select delete. Select Control I. That does nothing. I don't know what that was meant to do. Alright, we got more faces here that all jacked. Just harden all edges. Yeah, fuck it. Just fix it. I can't do absolutely everything for this game. The thing is, like, I've got to balance doing the art for the game and doing everything else at some point here. I've got to hand this off more, but there's certain things, like, I need to... I'm the only one that can break out these levels because I'm the only one that knows exactly what is in every level. And it's just so much faster if I do it. Soon, I will not be doing these levels anymore. And I should not waste time polishing it. Because there's a lot of game to get done. Alright. Strangely, I've just been sent a New York Times article on a quiz that tries to place you in the UK based on the words you use. We have those in America all the time. The common ones are usually food stuff. Like, a really common differentiator is how you talk about soda. If you call it pop versus if you call it soda versus if you call it Coke. You can tell a lot about where somebody lives based on how they ask for specifically soda. That'll separate you through most of America. It's like one of the big ones. I like the old school, like, bullshit American version of Cockney is my favorite Sudoku. I don't know if you like, crap. Like, have you ever seen a high school play of Eliza Doolittle? In Oxford, Edison, Hampshire, hurricanes are never happen. Eliza Doolittle. When they talk like this. All I want is to hear people talk like... I can't do it. That one's kind of cool. Or what are the movie... Oh, I don't know. I like British films. Americans are weirdly obsessed with British films. I will say, there's I'm one of them. I'm into it. You like that one? You like Cockney? Bullshit American Cockney. It's all I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air. I can't think of it. All I can do is quote Eliza Doolittle. In Hertford, Hertfordshire and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen. In Hertford, Hertfordshire and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen. Oh, it's too hot in here. I'm gonna get a soda. I'll be right back. Trying to think of other lines. You like dags? Dogs? Yes, I like dogs. Got a dag. You want a dag? Pygmalion. Is that what that is? Pygmalion? Oh, there's probably a different term for it. I thought it was Cockney. I haven't seen a good movie in a while. Oh yeah, I did. Spider-Man. Blood. I prefer US English. Well, that's probably because we export our culture very effectively. The only I really can't endure is the Indian accent. I've seen so many videos on web programming and sciences from Indian tutors. Yeah, that would never bother me much. It's definitely a culture. Like, I don't know if it's a... Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, that one definitely does not grate on me at all. I will say, instinctively, anytime I hear somebody with a thick accent, I instinctively talk slower and enunciate more, which can be, like, perceived as patronizing, but it's just something I learned to do. Because I used to work at I used to be a waitress in a diner, and it was kind of near the airport, and people would come in and they, would speak in very broken English, and so the respectful thing is to just talk slowly and enunciate and kill any kind of, flavor in my voice. So I got really good at doing that. But it sounds, if you do that just randomly out in the world, when somebody has an accent and you're not near an airport or something, it sounds like you're just patronizing them or something. My Fair Lady was the musical film. Pygmalion was the original play. I did not know that. I only knew it as the musical. To be fair, it is a very good musical. It's not up there with Phantom of the Opera, but it's funny. I have this L that's like Ella. Can you link a video, Seto, again? I generally find technical speak is very difficult. I don't know how you translate that, really. It's difficult to describe technical concepts. In fact, something I've never really thought about this, but if you're programming in another language, so most of the PS4 code was obviously written in Japan, right? Are there comments all in Japanese? Is there a Japanese version of C++? Like, how does it... I'm trying to think. I guess, because there's definitely... I mean, there's no English words in C++, really. I mean, there's a couple. I mean, there is. How does that work? Like, what does code look like that was written in Japanese? God, does anybody know? I've never had to do that. I mean, not just the comments. I imagine the comments would be in Japanese too, but even the names of the variables, right? Usually you comment in English. English is the lingua franca of programming. Huh. But does everybody in the world know English? I mean, I assume no. Does every programmer need to know English? I assume also no, probably, right? I don't know why that's never fucking occurred to me. Like, I imagine... I mean, they can't. That seems crazy. Especially when you consider most... English is really common, but... What's the most common languages? Like Chinese, Mandarin, and Cantonese have to be more common at this point. And yeah, well... I mean, I guess India's got a massive population. They all speak English. Japan's the one that really throws me, because there's so much development there. See, this is the kind of crap I wish I knew more about. God damn it. Asia may be different, but a lot of tech places in Europe will use English as their work language. Huh. Yeah, English does seem pretty ubiquitous in Europe. But I mean, I'm saying this, I've been to Europe twice ever. 3 times ever. And it was only to go to Germany. I did that one trip through Norway and Scandinavia. I'd like to check out, you know, I want to travel. It'd be cool. I wish I knew more. Spotify is Swedish. Shit, I didn't know that. Most of the code I've seen from German programmers have used English variable names and comments. So when I was in Germany, I was in Cologne. Everybody there spoke English, and I imagine in Berlin, everybody probably speaks English. So yeah, I imagine English is just everywhere in Europe. And I suppose most programming is done by Americans and Europeans. With comments, there might be people using German as well. Man, I can't imagine, like, to become a programmer needing to also learn English, just to read other people's comments and learn. But I mean, I guess, to me it seems really draconian and impossible, but I also, in America, most people just only know English. You take another language kind of like for fun in high school, but you mostly don't have to learn another language. Whereas I feel like when I was in Europe, everybody knew 2 languages minimum. One of them was English. You must learn. Yeah, and I suppose if you learn a language when you're younger, that's easier. But, yeah. I can't imagine trying to learn English if you're Japanese. The Japanese language is beautiful and very, very different and very structured in a way that's very different, you know what I mean? And like, I feel like I can kind of wrap my mind around Romance languages as somebody who knows English, because it's kind of a halfway between German and Romance language sort of situation. And I can understand other languages, like I can theoretically learn another language, but I feel like going from Japanese, which is so logical and structured, to English would just be murder. Like, that would be so hard. When Linus is finished. No shit.
But over the years, when I started working for IT companies, and I started realizing that system programming is good at certain parts of your application, and that's JavaScript wasn't designed to do that. So that's where I started thinking about learning system programming and stuff like that. So today, basically, I'm here to answer one simple question. The question goes something like, what does system programming basically mean to JavaScript developers? My name is Vigneshwar. I build AI algorithms for my work. That's what
I will say, I guess I'm used to hearing that, so for me it's easy to understand. Most Americans would probably say that that's difficult to understand, but they wouldn't have like a negative connotation about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not, you don't feel feelings about it the way you instinctively probably feel feelings about if somebody talks to you in a British accent or most European accents in general. You just instinctively feel like this person's probably smart for like no reason. I feel like we've just kind of, I don't know why, but the same reason, like in all of our films, villains tend to be Russians. If you hear a Russian accent, you're kind of like, never trust a Ruski. Like something subconscious in your mind thinks something like that. But there's no bias, at least for me, I don't think, in Indian accents. It's just really a little bit harder to understand. But it's hard to understand. And I can see, yeah. And if your English is your second language, then that's got to be compounded. That's going to be even harder to understand. Tried learning Chinese, and it's interesting how the approach is different. How different is Cantonese and Mandarin? Because to me, it's always crazy when people say they tried to learn Chinese, because they're two different languages, right? Someone knowing two languages must be smarter than the average American? Maybe, because you can think in two different ways, especially with some of these languages. Being smarter than the average American isn't very difficult. We're a very stupid people. Like, I think we're on the right, like, we're pretty cool with that. We celebrate it at times. We're a country of dumb people. I think if you look at a lot of our escapist Hollywood movies too, we're pretty open about it. We're like, yeah, we just want to fucking burn it down and watch it fly, man. I know the basics of Japanese. Learning Japanese is fun because it's like nothing breaks the rules. It's like subject wa, secondary subject ga, like everything has a place. Speaking Japanese is like doing math. It's just like there are rules. Whereas you go to like French and it's like the table's feminine. I'm like, what the fuck is feminine about a table? Oh my god, and why are every verbs you have to conjugate them in like 7 different ways? It's ridiculous. It's ha? No, it's... I don't believe you said again. I'm pretty sure it's wa. Watashi wa? Yeah, I'm not wrong. Watashi wa goen... Nihongo o hanashimasu. A table is male while a girl is neutral. I don't think there is neutral. I think that's actually the issue. There is no neutral in French languages. It would have been hard until I worked with 2 Indian engineers. It was at least a month before I could carry a conversation. Now I have no problem with it. Yeah. Yeah, but Michael, English is your first language. If English is your second language, then it's gonna be harder. Yeah, I know wa and ha. So again, I'm just saying, so when I say watashi wa, it's watashi wa, W-A. I mean, it's been years, to be fair. I could be wrong, but I feel like, I don't know why. For some reason, I'm very confident that it is wa. Nihongo o hanashimasu. There's o. In German, das Mädchen is neutral. German has the idea of gendered words and shit. I actually didn't know that. But that was only a romance thing. Weird. Dude, Linus should have commented things in Finnish. Think about how different Linux would be. I mean, it would be a lot hard. Things would get done so much slower. Just because of the confusion, which maybe would be helpful. I don't know. It would really separate the wheat from the chaff. Like if you wanna program in Linux, you also have to be willing to learn Finnish. That would really, I mean, I think that would actually kind of fit with the culture in a fucked up way. She hot. Yeah. I can't say you're wrong. Also, I don't know. I only know hiragana and katakana, so I don't know the kanji. I would bet you're right. There's probably There's probably other articles I'm not thinking of. Finnish is a really hardcore language. It would definitely fit the culture. Yeah, I'm debating. So I was invited. They liked my talk at Console, and they invited me to go back again, which is like it should fit. Like the game kind will be out by then. I should do another talk. Tempted not to speak in the same place twice, but I do like that conference. It's very small. It's cozy. They pay for your flights out there. They pay for your hotel. They take everybody, like, they take you around town and show you off. Norway is kind of nice. What was I gonna say? They put their money into the production values of like the streaming and the videos. I have very strong opinions about conferences for like no reason, but I just do. Like I think streaming conferences are huge. I would love to help, like if they wanted to take that further. I think streaming conferences especially have a huge future. I think we should have things where like you are streaming your talk and people can upvote and downvote questions and shit like that. Like I think there's a lot of things you could do with a streaming conference, and they seem to kind of be in that headspace a bit, but they still have an audience of like 200 people, which is better. Like you don't want to give a talk to like 15 people like I did in Birmingham that sucked. They just do so many things right. But on the other hand, I really do want to see a new part of the world. Like I've never been to anywhere at all. Like it'd be cool to go to Brazil, or I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to go to Asia yet. That's a long flight, but like somewhere new. Watashi wa Nihonjin desu. But written in ha. I see. Some people say it's hard for an American to learn Chinese because of the amount of different phonemes. Humans can learn to recognize phonemes in their first 2 years of living really easily. Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's true, architect, then it's probably also true about the different African languages, right? Where you've got like clicks and shit. I imagine that would be much harder. Whereas with Chinese, my limited understanding is that a lot of your meaning when you're speaking in these different Chinese languages, Mandarin and Cantonese, is through the intonation. Like the inflection of your voice can change the meaning. That's what I was told at one point. I feel like as an American, I could probably grok that, whereas like being able to make the various clicks and mouth sounds for the different African languages, I think that would be harder personally, I suspect. You hadn't thought of streaming conferences? Let me tell you about them, Calholm. They're the future. I think it's a good idea. I think I've been a part of different ones for a while now. Like I've been doing Annam State for a couple years. I'm not doing it this year. I'm like there in an advisory role. I'm not speaking as part of it this year, but like which is just basically all the speakers from the animation boot camp at GDC do talks the second day for free live on Twitch. We started that about 3 years ago. Mike Youngbluth started that. Rami's starting up a talk that I'm advising on that one as well. A conference, like 30 people, a global conference called Game Dev World. This is one of those things, whenever an initiative's new, you're not used to talking about it yet. Like, I don't even know how to talk about this. There's going to be an online conference this summer called Game Dev World that Rami Ishmael is starting up. It's going to be entirely streamed. That one's interesting. I still have mixed feelings on that. Like, I think there is a benefit to having an audience, and a lot of the there's two sides to it. Like, it's fun to go to a place and speak and meet other people and meet the speakers in person, and I'm sad if we move everything online and we get rid of that. Like, that would kind of suck. But it's a huge pain in the ass. It's a lot easier to get people to speak if they can just, set up something in their homes. Chinese is like singing. Game Dev Worlds. Yeah, let me get it. You should sign up for the mailing list. Check it out. I'm supposed to promote this. I'm doing a terrible job. Game Dev World. Pew. Rami Ishmael's new big RamiCon. That's a cool one. He's got some pretty good sponsors lined up. His ideas are interesting. Really not the direction I was thinking at all. It's just kind of like why I like it. He's mostly interested in tackling like the translations. His thing is the whole point of a streaming conference is that it can be translated into, I think he's going with like 8 different languages. You can see them if you go to the website. So he'll live stream and he'll have translators there the entire time, translating into all the different languages and translating the chat back and asking the questions, the translated questions to the speakers. So there's he's really big on that. He thinks that's like a key feature for an online conference, which I think is interesting. A really good idea and very difficult logistically. So I'm curious to see how we pull that off. I've only seen part of those talks. It's really hard to watch a whole week. Watch week of whole day streams. Oh, GDC? I pick at them slowly throughout the year. And I pick the ones I'm interested in. I'm not sure what you're talking about with Cluck, by the way. What are we doing here? Is shape correct? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Okay. I need to give these people some guidance. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's still exporting. Hey, architects. It's coming along, man. We're scheduled Q3 or Q4. I'm coming out. I'm gonna make some big announcements at GDC. I'm gonna make some small announcements at GDC. I'm gonna announce the day that I'm coming out at GDC. That's basically it. Now you know. But right now, the last week's been a blur of getting marketing shit ready for that. And getting the levels together, which I went through at the beginning of the video, so I won't go through it again, but it's just a lot to do still. Mostly with art stuff. I've actually, because I'm in like a polish up the beginning of the game phase, I'll test that, and then I've been shy about letting designers, specifically like Dragneck Discord designers, play the game recently, because I don't want design feedback until I can act on it. And I need to get the game polished, like the first third of the game polished for GDC. Yeah, I mean, you guys know it's coming out Q3, Q4 this year, so you basically know. But now you'll know with a press release and like art, you have to find a reason to make a big thing about shit. Give the press a reason to write. So that's what I'll do at GDC. That's my weak ass plan. Hopefully I get some amount of press, and that's the goal. But everything's clicking along. The only question is, can I get things done quickly enough that I've got a very specific budget, and I've got a certain amount of time to make the game, and it just comes down to like, the wiggle room is in what I port to. So like, if I need, right now I'm scheduled to come out on multiple platforms at launch. If I can't do that, like if I run out of money, then I just won't port, because that's like a solid porting to the Nintendo, like to Switch, Xbox, and PS4. It's gonna cost like 70 grand. So if I run out of money, I just don't do that. EGS. What is EGS? Oh, Epic Games Store. Working on it, said again. We will find out. Check this festival later. Hey, is this the festival I was supposed to look at down in Brazil? Hold on. I have it in my calendar. On January 1st, somebody from Brazil said I need to check out this festival. And I said I would decide if I'm going to go or not. Oh, it was called the Brazil Game Show. I gave myself a deadline on April 21st on Easter Sunday. I'm going to figure out which festivals I'm going to. Because I do need to start showing the game at late Q4 this year. Where's... this is a different one. This is June. I'm not ready. No, too soon. Maybe next year. June just doesn't fit, man. Big is for indies. Oh, man. I'd love to, but I gotta like make the game though. Can't be going around yet, man. I'm gonna show the game. My plan right now is I'm taking a lot of the game to GDC. I'll show it off there. That's kind of fun because it's other developers. Try to get a press burst there. I'm in Boston, so I might show it to some press in PAX East, but I don't really have a plan for that. That's just like organic. And then I'm thinking Gamescom hit, because that's a big one. And I know what I'm getting into. And then after that, I don't know, like next year, probably next year maybe, I'll be going to other places. If I have money. If the game totally tanks, then I won't. We'll find out. Yeah, it was ported in a day or so, said Okan, but I didn't. That was them teasing me with how quickly they could get it done. They're still going to charge me money to do it, and they've got to fix all the bugs and submit it and get it through cert. So they're going to charge me like, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think for all 3 ports it's going to come around to like 70,000 some. I have to look up the numbers again, but it's not. I have it all written down. That's the big question, is which consoles I come out on. Of them, if I had to choose, like if it came down to money and I could only come out on like Like the first one I would drop is PS4 just because I haven't even started talking to them. I really think Switch is a good idea for Kine. I like the idea of coming out right around the holidays and having people play Kine on the Switch on their flights and shit. $70 for... Oh, alright, let me look it up. I think it... Keep in mind, if I pay someone to port it, I'm paying them to do everything, including cert and handholding. And it's for at least for 3 platforms. Switch, Xbox, and PS4. And I think 70 was what I was quoted, yeah. Let me look. I mean, I had a competing offer that was lower. But I don't know those people as well. They were willing to do it for like 60 something. Where is it? Where's my documents? What are we doing here? It's a crap ton of money. Not gonna lie. Oh, okay. Yeah, 70. Not crazy. I think it's really easy to roll your eyes and say that's a high number because you've never ported a game. And you've never had to manage the relationship with the first party, deal with getting something through cert, and their inevitable bullshit. There's a reason they're charging as much as they are. I buy it. I don't even know what I'm getting into with Nintendo. Like, I've never had to... We didn't handle that port at all. For the Flame of the Floods, Curve handled all of that. But yeah, as you can imagine, that's basically my oh shit fund. It's like, well, guess I'm not coming out on PS4 or Xbox. That's why I'm real cagey about what I'm coming out on, because it's always like, ran out of money, fuck it. I guess having someone deal with cert is worth a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. Especially at the end of the project, it's not like I have time to do it. And it's not like I could. It's like, oh, what are they going to tell me? All right, this failed cert, and I've just got to run back to the programmers and be like, it failed cert, and here's why. And then, like, injecting yourself into that in between two programmers talking doesn't help anybody or save anybody any money. Like, in the end, they've got to fight it out. I got no horse in that race. This is the one down. I mean, at the end of the day, I am not a programmer. I did not write this engine. So where I need to just throw money at the problem is here. I don't really have a choice. Was that quote amount from a cert outsourcing team? No, it was from a team of people that does ports. It's basically the amount that they wanted to charge me to port the game. I have an account in Nintendo. My eyes were like this when I saw the prices. Yeah. I think, yeah. Does that seem high to you, Zero Hero? That honestly didn't seem high to me. 70 grand for 3 different ports. That seemed about right. But I am stuck in American prices in my head, right? And I'm from AAA, so sometimes I'm wrong about these things. You saw a Kickstarter that said 5K more and I'll port the game to X. Well, you know, if you're porting the game yourself and it's a very small engine that you understand, maybe. And if you kind of want to do it, so you're going to subsidize it. I think you... And I have heard it's gotten easier compared to where it used to be. UE4. Okay. I haven't ported the game yet, so I don't know. But I think if you're in UE, a lot of our issues porting the Flame of the Flood, because there were a lot, came down to Fmod. And I know a lot of our issues at Irrational, like, we completely gutted UE3 and rewrote stuff, so there's obviously crap tons that they had to do on the rendering side for the ports. But it also came down to the integration of Morpheme. In general, like, Epic has already ported to these other engines, and if all you do is use Epic's tools, then you're fine. But the minute you implement like any kind of third-party shit, the chances are that the combination of the third-party stuff plus Epic's engine plus porting to a different platform may not be super smooth. You may ask about porting on the UE4 Discord. There are some devs that did that. So again, the other thing is I'm not... Oh, how do I put it? I don't want to be in a situation where I pay, like, instead of paying 25 grand to port something, I pay 18 grand, but it maybe doesn't get done, or it doesn't get done well, or it becomes a major pain in the ass. Like, there's a certain point where it's like, if I come out, it is not okay to come out on Xbox and not on PS4, legally. Like, in the contracts, that's not okay, right? So if any given port has a problem, then it stops everything. And there's a certain... My timeline is pretty tight. It's just not something I'm willing to take a super big risk on, but maybe I should. If I thought I could save a lot of money, I would, but I just don't... Like, I really don't think I can save a lot of money here. I think 70 grand's about right. Me? I'm not doing any third party, not even Fmod. Fuck Fmod. I've learned my lesson. No offense to the good people who work at Fmod. No. Right now I'm working entirely with Unreal. And it's entirely a Blueprint project. So in theory, this should be a dreamlike port. But we'll see. Now you got me thinking, because like if I started somebody working on it now, yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. I'm trying to do too many things at once. I can't really force the price down on that. But to be clear, that's, as you can imagine, that's a huge part of my budget. It's the porting. And the loc and the QA that go with it. Well, the QA that goes with it. I forgot to mention that part. Did I export this yet? Yes, that's what was taking so long. Wait, no, this is jacked. There's only 3 materials, there should be 4. Nope, super jacked. Alright, at some point you must have lost. Back, right? There we go. Something's fucked. Should be. Oh, God damn it. Alright, there's 4 materials. Oh, gotcha. Okay. And we're good. So you're in there, and what I need to make now is another level that is opening. Which means this one should probably be scribble. Okay. And we're good. Now we test it. Oh, wait. Nope. Haven't done the thing yet. Okay, so your tags are opening levels of 7, so you're with this one, and you're with this one. 2 arms of 5. You are a level of 2 masters. And you're not center. You weren't expecting that for a blueprint project? It was Omno, by the way. €25 for console ports. For all console ports? All being like 2, right? Xbox and PS4? Yeah, that's an interesting idea, Noguri. I've been kicking it around a lot. I'm still debating what to do there. Like if I should go PC first. There's a lot of there's a lot of arguments for going PC first. One of them being that you can how do you put it? Like say I launch, there's bugs, like a lot of bugs. I can fix those bugs before I bother doing the port, which is good. The downsides are they say that you don't get pressed twice unless you're like a really big deal. So any amount of press you get is only going to be the first time around. So you should come out on every console imaginable because that increases your likelihood of hitting, and because then people will get it on every platform. Like nobody's going to write a second article when Kind comes to the Xbox, most likely, right? I think Forrest would argue the opposite. Forrest said, my old business partner says it's a really good idea to stagger your launches because you get pressed twice, which means you get pressed when you come out on PC and you get more pressed when you come out on the consoles, and you get more PC sales the second time around, which is definitely what we saw in the Flame of the Flood, but we had a shit launch for the Flame of the Flood, which is the counterpoint to that. And also, I don't have the kind of hype going into this that we did for the Flame of the Flood. Like, going into the Flame of the Flood, we had more wish lists, we had a successful Kickstarter, we had loads of backers that wanted to play the game, we had a 2-page spread in Game Informer. For various reasons, it had to fly really far under the radar until I left the Molasses Flood, and now, like, unless some miracle happens at GDC, I don't think I'm going to get that. I think I got, like, one shot at this. So it is tempting to blow my budget and just do it. Plus, there's something satisfying about... Not satisfying. I've mentally prepared for the idea that my bank account hits 0 when I launch Kine. And, like, this is... I don't know. Or my company bank account, not my personal bank account, obviously. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I'm waffling on it pretty hard. I haven't signed anything yet. I'm trying to find out where you started talking about this. I think I saw some succeeded Kickstarter that was 5K or more. Oh, okay. In the FAQ, he mentions Switch, PS4, and Xbox. For 5K. I mean, I don't know him, maybe. For 5K, he's going to come out on 3 more platforms. I mean, it's not even the engine at that point. It's managing... I don't think you understand. Oh, God. It's better than it used to be, but there's a lot of hoops you jump through, man, when you come out on these consoles. There's a lot of stuff. Especially if he's including... Like, 5K isn't going to cover your QA when you come out on a console. Maybe he's making like a wallpaper. You know what? It's possible. I don't know this guy. He might have his shit together. Don't link the Kickstarter. I don't want to judge people. You know what? You know what? Maybe. I mean, there's all kinds of potential. Maybe he really, really wants to do it and he's willing to subsidize it, but he just needs another 5K to see that people are interested. That's possible. It's totally possible. Yeah. Though I feel like having it as a stretch goal is a weird way to suss out that possibility. Because people might just really like the game and you accidentally get that. I don't feel like a stretch goal is a good indicator. I think if I was going to do it, I would have people vote, like, I'm either going to localize to these additional languages or I'm going to port to the Switch, maybe? Even that's kind of kludgy. I don't know how I would figure that out, but I just don't feel like that's... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's good for Kickstarter's platform when people say crazy shit, too. Alright, link this. Who is Omno? I need to know what you're talking about now. I don't want to shit on this person. Let's look at it together. I like it. I like it. I don't know what the hell this is, but I'm into it. dates. How much of this is... You want 32,000 euro? What is that in USD? Probably like 50k. Looks like this might be a Kickstarter just to get publicity and gauge interest. This is clearly well into development if any of this is playable. Yeah, it's got to be well in... Me, solo dev. Goddamn. How long is this experience? I mean, he's definitely doing smart things with the art. His animation is not bad. Freelance animator. Oh, this guy's after my own heart. Okay, this guy's not an idiot. He put together a very compelling trailer. And he asked for a lot more than 5k. I think your math was a little off there. He asked for 25k. Is my math off? No. 25k for multiple consoles. He's gonna be fine. Because if he misses the mark in any way and needs more money, someone's gonna step in and give it to him. He's already proved a great deal of interest. He's already funded most of it through Kickstarter. I don't think it would be too difficult for somebody to step up. And he was smart enough not to list which consoles, it sounds like, so he could always get a console exclusivity deal with a specific console later. This is gonna come out. I dig it. Where am I? Sorry. I've asked about EGS exclusive. Is that an option you're considering as desirable? I know too much about that set again, but yeah, I would consider it desirable based on the things I've heard and seen. EGS is... I know too much about it to talk about it too much. If I was you, I would definitely go for it. I would be lying if I said I wasn't going for it. Ninja thinks he needs more gameplay. I'd love to play it. That world looks beautiful. I work as a solo developer, entirely independent. I know, and he's an ex-animator. Love it. Something I've come to realize is people in his position have a great deal of options. He's gone so far solo, and he's proven it. He's proven an interest in the market. He could get a much better deal than most people if he ever goes to a publisher. They would immediately fund it for whatever he's missing. He could get finishing funds if he needs them. So I wouldn't worry about him. It's hard to be objective when you know how the sausage is made, but if you played BioShock Infinite, how did you feel about it? I plead the fifth. Sorry. I think it's difficult because I see what it could have been. also it's difficult to critique. There's parts of Bioshock Infinite I adore, and there's parts that I don't adore, but I also know everybody involved, and I'm friends with everyone involved, so I'm not gonna be like, yeah, these guys really dropped the ball. Like, I can't talk about it. It's just too bitchy, you understand? Like, it's just too different. Like, I just can't. Sorry. Solo dev is fun and addicting, and it's a dangerous, stressful path. I simultaneously highly recommend it and caution against it. It's going pretty well, Husky. Alright, let's make sure this isn't tagged as center. Alright, let's see. It's taken 3 hours to do some very basic shit, but you know. Okay, this looks firm. This is part of that. If I go over to this level. And now it's part of this level as well. I have to go back here, that falls away, and that's fine. Alright. Definitely fucked up their artwork quite a bit, but they'll do. Because I'm paying them. So, have you ever heard of WEX? Not a game, just a company. No, I haven't. Should I have? I will Google them because it will take you a while to talk about it. Game of Thrones wiki? I'm gonna need you to tell me more about it because there's too many of these. Too many things called Wex. Well, that's one done for my list. What is 2 arms 05? Alright, 2 arms. 02, 04, 05. Figure out 2 arms 05. I feel like that one we just did. Oh, that's this one. And I think we did figure that out already. Yeah, that's done. Okay. So I did that. Intro 05 bottom. Yes. Break out this one. Fuck. They're based out of Maine. I would not bother Googling it. It's not interesting enough. Alright, fair enough. What is the best way to contact me beside Twitter and Twitch? Why? My DMs are open on Twitter if you want to say something private. Like if you need help with something or if you need like advice or something. That's generally how I recommend people hit me up. Or if you just want to hang out, I tend to troll Alan's Discord a lot. If you're on the, what do you call it? Draknek's Thinky Puzzle Game Discord. It's a favorite of mine. I tend to go there a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. All right. I still got some gas. Maybe we should do this. I'll upstream it. Fuck it. So this will be opening levels of 5. Next thing. I need to break out. This is what I did. Okay. This is going to be easy, I think. Because all I need to do is break out this. Yeah. Kinda easy. Okay. So 5B. Oh, for business inquiries. Yeah, definitely. Hit me up on Twitter DMs. Believe it or not, I do a lot of business over Twitter. You can also, I don't know why I forgot I have this. If it's a longer form thing, this is an email you can contact me at. Hey dude, I've signed very large deals over Twitter. You'd be surprised. I think you underestimate the potential for Twitter DMs. All right. I'm gonna actually break this down further. Let's save this as opening 05C. I am definitely pixel hunting with a bullshit camera, which is painful. But, alright, so this is 05C. Good enough. File, export all. Let's open up B. God damn it, this camera. Why is the pivot here? This is so irritating. Okay. UB05B. And oops. I mentioned troll discords and learning help. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. Damn it. I see. I actually don't know how these things work. Yeah, I didn't mean to send out bad vibes. I feel bad. Yeah. I used to be a little bit too, putting my email out on the internet. Now I feel like maybe I shouldn't do that, I guess was the thing. I didn't mean to be weird and cagey about it. I know you guys are cool. But not everybody is. So there we go. Let's import the new meshes. Set collision. Set materials. There we go. Done for you. And God damn it. See all these scribbles. You'll be the top. Okay. And finally, let's re-import this. Okay. Now, Can you run? You're not the driver. You are a follower, and you are this. I'm gonna set you to fly up, and another one. You are here. You are gonna move opening levels 05 and forms B04. And you are going to go up. Can't test that without spoiling the game, so I will test that later. I'm pretty confident that'll work. That'll go up, that'll stay. We're good to go. Should remove this from this level. Forms B04. Now when they are up to that level, they will not be wasting their time. Okay, good. Should probably... This level's already chunked. Why are you doing that? Ugh. I guess it doesn't matter, it's temp art, but still. Alright. There, that'll give them a better idea of what they're doing. Oh, what else? And I gotta chunk up that, probably. Yet further. I feel like... I don't know how I feel about that. I might just say this whole thing goes with this. Try that out, see how it feels. All right, those are my quick level tasks. That was supposed to only take me about an hour. It took a bit longer, but this was really fun, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I think I'm probably going to take off now. Go enjoy this fine day. I'm lying. I'm going to play the game more and then do more work, but without streaming. What else is there to share? Later, Sapphire. Thanks, Architect. I don't know when I'm gonna stream again. I've just been really, really busy lately. Just got a lot of prep going on for GDC. But, I enjoy doing this. I'll be back. Alright, I think everybody's... I never know with the lag if people are saying goodbye or not. I always feel bad because I end it and then like 50 people say goodbye. Later Sid again, later Nuguri. Thanks Encode. Alright, have a wonderful day. Peace.